Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at K9 Mitsu, and the reason for this is because I believe that K9 as an engine is extremely powerful right now due to the overabundance of Cool Tune. K9 just kind of shits on Cool Tune due to the, 10,000 things that it does to stop or interact with the Cool Tune stuff. So, if people are playing a bunch of Cool Tune, here's a deck that you can play that isn't the K9 Vanquish Soul. That's it. Just in case you don't have the Vanquish Soul stuff. The Mitsu stuff. Yeah, Mitsu is also still incredibly very powerful. And notably, this deck has the ability to utilize things like 7th Tachyon to go from Dragluvion or Dragluxion with the Mitsu stuff into the K9 stuff. And the K9 stuff is just generically more powerful. But you can also use the K9 stuff to go into Saryuya to then go into, hopefully, the Mitsu stuff, because you just draw a whole bunch of cards. So that's kind of the idea, is that one gets the other and the other gets the other, back and forth, right? Which is pretty good. Very similar to the way that Vanquish Soul works, or Archmage in particular also works similarly to an extent, where like Krishron, right? So there's a bunch of synergies like that. We're just going to quickly go through the card by card and the explanation. We have a whole bunch of hand traps in here, but most of the hand traps are to draw into our better hand traps. We're playing 5 Charmies, the 2 Perulias, and then the 3 Fuwas. The reason we're playing also for more than 40 is because there's a lot of like bricks in this deck. There are some hard bricks like Mirror, like you just can't draw Mirror if you want to use pre-prep. So there's that. And then we have some pseudo bricks in here like the Trap, the Quick Play, and the Wosu. So there are things like that that we don't want to necessarily draw. So we're playing a little bit more than 40 so that we don't see multiple of them in a starting hand. We're also playing Ash and Maxi, and that's it for the hand traps outside of the actual engine pieces, which are, of course, Izuna. We're playing the full K9 package, triple Izuna, 2 Yokel, 1 Lantern, 1 Lupus, and 3 apiece of Noir. The reason for Noir in particular is because it allows you to play around Droll, and Droll is a problem. So the idea is you normal summon a Noir, you special summon out a Yokel, and then you go into Ripper. Ripper can detach the Yokel in order to search out Lantern, and then Lantern can reborn the Yokel and then add an additional guy. So that's kind of the idea behind that, is just you're generating advantage through that. Actually, I'm lying to you. What you're supposed to do is detach the Noir to then reborn so that you search the Yokel off of that effect. I think that's the way that you're supposed to do it, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, the point is that basically the Noir, the single normal summon of the Noir gets you into Saryuya before they can Droll you, which means that you are protected from Droll on the Saryuya. That's the idea. And then, of course, you do the whole Mitsu line. That's also why we're only playing the 1 case in here as well. It's basically a search target post-Ripper. So that's the general idea. And then, of course, the 1 forced release. As for the Mitsu stuff, we are playing quite a big package of the Mitsu cards. We are playing Kusanagi, Saji, and Aramasa, as well as Wosu. And then we're playing 2 Murakumo, 2 Habakiri, and 1 Futsu. Honestly, you could probably cut a Murakumo. I was playing 2 because I was originally building this with more of Mitsu focused, and then I kind of cut it down to more of a K9 focus because I saw the K9 cards performing better. So that's the idea. We're also playing, of course, 3 pre-prep in order to grab the Mirror and an additional name, as well as 1 Ritual and the Trap as previously mentioned, and then the 1 Prayers as well. As for the rest of the cards, we have just some staples in here. Triple Attack and Thrust. Thrust is very good due to prep, so that's why we're playing it. And then the 1 called by as well. And we do have a trap to set, so I'm not too concerned about not having like a trap to set. So there's that. As for the extra deck, we have a whole bunch of things that are mostly in here. Okay, we'll just go over it. We have a lot of targets for the 7th Tachyon, which is in here, which we can search off of Dragluxion. So we have the Masquerade. We have, I guess Masquerade technically doesn't do anything because all of these are darks, but it is a target for our Umbral Horror Masquerade, which is kind of necessary. We also have ourselves the Giant Red Hand, which happens to be an Earth, which is useful to search out some of the canines. This one is a Dark to search out the other canines, so there's that. We also have Nash Knight in here, as well as the Chaos Nash Knight, to give us access to that Umbral Horror package, which is very useful. We have Konkiri, which allows us to go into the Saryuya. We have a Ripper, a Jax, and a Werewolf for the canine Xyz. We also have Dragluxion, which I previously mentioned, as well as Hope Harbinger, which is a target for the Dragluxion. Originally, I wasn't playing this. Play it. It's just a nice another spell negate, which is pretty solid. We have ourselves a Typhon and a Zeus as well. I don't know if Zeus is technically necessary. There were a lot of cards that I wanted to play and had to cut. I'm not playing Dynamondo. I'm not playing Hound, both of which I would much prefer. And instead, we are playing SP Little Knight and Saryuya as our Link monsters. I guess SP could be taken out. I technically didn't need it, but there were a lot of other cards that you could play in here as well. So, like Valon's not in here as well. So, there you go. But that's it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, here we are going second, and our hand, it exists. Luckily, my opponent just decides to set a few cards, so let's see what we can accomplish here. Drawing Izuna is one of the best draws we could have gotten. Of course, this is man. Why wouldn't it be? We're going to go for the Yokel here. We're going to special summon the Izuna. They're going to go for the Maxi. We're going to go for the Ash Blossom. Fantastic. We're going to special summon the Yokel, go for the Izuna. They're going to activate to the effect of the Imperm. Negating the effect of the Izuna, I'm going to go activate to the Yokel, grab a Lantern here, and then just get drolled. Alright, sure, why not? We're going to go for the Jax here in order to pop the monster that they currently have on field. Of course, they are going to negate that. That's fine, because now we get to go for the Lantern here. Special summon back the Izuna, and at this point, we can just walk over the field. Yeah, they don't really have anything else. They lose. Good game. I could have also normal summoned the guy there. It would not have mattered because we wouldn't have been able to search anything. But, hey, had I not gotten trolled, that game was crazy over. Alrighty, here we are once again going second. And this is a stellar hand. Holy cow, this hand is incredible. First and foremost, my opponent is going to reveal they are playing Orcust. There it is. So out comes the Orcust card. They're going to attempt to special summon some tokens to our side and their side of the field after sending the Harpor. They're going to go for the Deception in order to grab the fusion spell. They're going to special summon here. They're going to send everything to the grave to draw 2. Sure. They're going to draw another card. Sure. And then they set 2 and pass the turn. Now, here's the thing. That might not be enough. Let's see what we can accomplish here. I draw another Fool, which is funny. They're going to Ash here, the pre-prep, but luckily we drew Called By, because we... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, out comes Futsu. They notably did give us a token with which we can tribute our Noir. So Noir comes out, hits the Jokel. Jokel effect is going to grab a Lantern. And of course we go into the Ripper, which is such a powerhouse against this deck in general. So yeah, at this point the game is pretty much locked up for us. We're going to grab up the Izuna off of the case. We're just going to special summon the Izuna. Realistically, I guess I shouldn't have grabbed case. I should have just grabbed Izuna. Bit of a mistake on my part. They do go for the Called By here on the Lupus, but Lupus is just going to special summon itself, and then we're going to go into the Nash Knight. Nash Knight is going to yoink. So we yoink up their Orcust name, and then Chaos Nash Knight into the Umbral Horror, because Umbral Horror on summon pops a spell trap, so we're going to pop the spell trap. Reveal the Habakiri in hand that I guess they just thought I didn't have, because they stuck around that long, but yeah, I just reveal the Habakiri and they go, "Oh, you got it!" And then they died. Fua. Hooray. Alright, those last 2 games weren't all that interesting, and the reason for that is because this game is the game that I truly wanted to show you. First and foremost, we're going to start off here with this Charmy, which gets Called By. Okay, cool. I don't really have anything else here. Let's see what we can accomplish. We do have Prayer. We do have, of course, Wosu as well. And we have double Jokel, so I don't know. That could do something. Let's find out. First and foremost, my opponent is going to reveal that they're on one of the most boring decks of all time in Hero. Wow, are we surprised? No. Given their name, field, mate, icon, and everything else in between, I am the least shocked I have ever been. Also, what is with Hero players having, like, the worst names I've ever seen? Like, they never have anything normal. They're just like, I'm going to be haha funny, and then it's never funny. Anyway, they're doing stuff. I'm not going to explain any of this because the only thing that you need to know is that they are going to make a card that is basically a turn skip. And we need to keep that in mind. Now, that being said, for some reason, which I could not tell you, I don't know if the card works the way that it says it does. And I'll explain in a second. So, they're going to go through their big line. As you saw, they searched out 2 of these Neospatians. Notably, I think they just sent one to the grave. Oh, no. Yeah. They have Air Hummingbird currently in grave. And as long as they have 3 of those names as well as the Neos, they have the ability to make a very, very silly card. Let me see if I can find it for you. So, where is he? This guy, Cosmo Neos, is a card that says it requires Elemental Hero Neos and 3 Neospatians with different attributes, so basically differently named ones. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can activate this effect. For the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards. Also, cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Now, here's the thing. This basically says you can't play the game. So, that kind of sucks. It's basically a turn skip. So if they get to that, I basically lose, is the idea, right? Because, like, oh, they turn skip. Now, they have the trap that allows them to summon it on my turn with favorite contact. So they're going to flip it up. I'm immediately going to search out here. I'm going to search the Aramasa, because why not? So they're going to summon their big guy. I do have the Wosu here to tribute, so I'm not dead immediately. So, in fact, yeah, we do that. However, you may have noticed something. I get to search here with the Habakiri. I have no idea why. I also had the ability to activate the Yokel. Now I can't. But I did have the ability to activate Yokel and special summon it. And now I can't. Because of Wosu. Not because of the opponent's card. Though, I will say, technically speaking, Wosu is negated on the field. Like, I can't activate the effect. I can't do anything. I just don't know why this card is red. That I can't activate effects, period. And yet, it only seems to affect cards on field. Because it says, for the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards. And cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. So to me, that reads as like, oh, I can't activate anything. But I think technically the way that this works is that if you were to activate a card, not the effect of a card, in the hand or in the grave, basically, when you activate a card, the card has to hit the field, right? You have to activate it by, like, playing it onto the field, right? You activate Imperm by playing it onto the field. You activate Pot of Greed by playing it on the field, right? That is, I think, what it is technically not allowing. So, grave effects, because they are not cards I control, monster effects in hand, and anything else that would, like, discard itself for the activation requirement, or anything else of that nature. Basically, if they activate either in hand and never hit the field, or in grave and never hit the field, they can technically activate. So I think that's what's going on here. Anyway, I could have summoned the Yokel there. I didn't realize I could have summoned the Yokel there because this card is worded really weirdly. Some of the other cards don't do that. Anyway, it's fine, because what ends up happening is that off of the Habakiri, we actually get to the ability to search out the Saji, which then gives us the Ritual. On top of that, we already drew the Great Purification, which is very, very useful to us, because now we don't immediately die to literally no follow-up. The idea here is that they just make big enough guys and they just punch over you. We did get pretty lucky here. Now, that being said, let's see what our opponent does here. They immediately go to combat phase and attempt to negate with, or pop our back row with the Sunrise. I actually do elect to negate. It does, I mean, if they have the field spell, right? I also add back the Wosu here. Or not the field spell. If they have the quick play, I do just die. Like, if they go Koga there, I do just die. But, notably, they might not have had it. So, we'll see what they do. They're going to go for the Stratos here. They're going to go Stratos into the Miracle Ejector again. They're going to go for the Miracle Ejector and then just EN Shuffle to draw some cards. Okay, putting back a few of their names. I think at this point, they don't really have anything, right? yeah, they're just kind of out of pieces. So I draw the Ash Blossom, which is funny. We're going to go for the Yokel. Yokel is going to grab Lantern. Lantern is going to special summon the Yokel, which then gets Dimensional Barriered. At least it wasn't Ritual. Okay, we're going to go for it. Case for K9. They're going to Ash. Sure. Anyway, out comes Wosu. I'm fairly certain I can just kill him here, but we'll find out. We're going to go for the Mirror here. We're going to then special summon out the Hobby or Kiri, and we're going to go to combat and walk right into Honest. Of course it's Honest. Why would it not be Honest? It's fine. There's not really anything I could have done about that. I am going to re-special summon out the Habakiri so that I can go for the Ritual here. We're going to go for the Ritual. Out comes Futsu. Activate Mirror, because I have no idea why I can't activate the Habakiri. I don't know. I don't think I already used it. Anyway. They're going to go for the Vision Hero increase, which I just ashed. They're going to triple attack and take and do nothing with it. The thing is, Hero is extremely exclusive. You can't just use any cards for their Link monsters or for any Link monster. And oftentimes, you very quickly get limited into only summoning heroes for the rest of that turn, which means they can't have just made, like, SP Little Knight or something. So the steal there didn't do anything. So, they just surrendered. What a game! We beat the turn skip. Alright, we're back with the deck. I don't think this is, like, the best version of this deck. I'm gonna say that straight up. But I do believe that the K9 variants, I believe Mitsu is maybe one of the best. That's not specifically Vanquishable. But the K9 variants, I think, are really, really good right now, due to the fact that K9's incredible. Just in general, but also, of course, because of the prevalence of a deck that kind of gets eaten alive by K9 in Cool Tune. So, hey, if you're having trouble with Cool Tune, maybe consider playing K9. It's just very, very strong. The Mitsu cards are actually also still very strong, and being able to go, like, Preparation of Rites and just kind of checkmate your opponent if they don't have Droll is very powerful. It's just kind of like one of those cards where it's like, all right, either you force the hand trap to immediately be in their hand, and then get discarded, right, with that of Droll or Ash or something of that nature, or you just kind of win the game. Like, that happens a lot. Or you could be like me and just draw Saji every time, and it doesn't matter, because you drew the freaking Saji. It's fine. I'm fine. The amount of times I drew Saji was frustrating. But, that being said, that's also why we're playing the increased card count. It helps a bunch. All in all, though, this deck is still very powerful and very worthwhile in terms of playing. So, that's all. That's basically all that I have to say is, like, hey, neither of these decks are dead. Yeah, Mitsu lives on. You could also still play Mitsu with Ryzeal as well. I'm just playing it with K9 because I think it's slightly better right now. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, likes very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.